The coach prime effect at Colorado is done. At least that's what one insider is saying. I disagree.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs, everybody. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. Today's episode is brought to you by Call Sheet. For a limited time, download the Call Sheet app and use code Locked On to get $10 when you trade $10. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Colorado's new sponsor, Progressive, and how that really helps get them in the forefront of college football in a way, in terms of financial stuff, I guess. We'll talk about some key battles that are still underway as fall camp is pretty much coming to a close, and we're getting to like the point where it's like, hey, we are now preparing for Georgia Tech. But first, we got to talk about the latest hit piece released by Front Office Sports, titled, and I quote, "Colorado's prime effect is wearing off for TV networks." And so they provide the data, right? There is some truth to this, right? The data is undeniable that Colorado's viewership has dropped, right? The 2023 season, the 5 Colorado games televised by ESPN, they were averaging 6.1 million viewers. And then 24, it was 3.4 million over their 4 games. And then last year was 2 million over 7 games. So 67% drop in a 3-season span. Now, I'm not denying that the viewership has dropped, right? I think the coach prime effect has changed, right? It's still very much well and alive. I just think that this article is designed to frame Colorado and Deion Sanders' brand or interest being dead, right? The goal of this was to be like, hey, look it, no one likes Colorado anymore. It's like, oh my gosh, like, has Colorado fallen off a cliff? And it's like, well, in terms of overall, just like they were running national television for a year, I guess you could say it's a little bit different, but it is worth noting that Colorado ranks number 27th in the country in terms of viewership per game, right? So these are including streaming numbers. Alabama, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Oklahoma are 1 through 5. Then you have LSU, Michigan, A&M, Mississippi, Notre Dame, Florida, pretty much the entire SEC, right? The SEC powerhouses. Florida State's in there at number 16. Georgia Tech's there at 19. Vanderbilt 18. Clemson 21. Indiana, the national champions, 22. Nebraska 23. South Carolina 24. USC 25. BYU 26. Right? Texas Tech 29. Washington 30. Like, the viewership isn't what it once was. And I don't know if it'll ever get back to that, right? I think the 2023 season for Colorado was the perfect storm for Deion Sanders and is pretty much an anomaly, right? We will never see that again. I've talked about that before. It was an anomaly. There was so many things like, and this is why this article is somewhat frustrating to me, is because it's pointed to make it seem like no one cares about Colorado anymore, when in reality, Colorado was a 3-9 team, and they ranked top 30 in college football in viewership, right? There's teams that were contending for the playoff. There's teams that maybe made the playoff that they outrank by a wide margin, right? That's just sort of, I guess, the method of, modern journalism, if you will. It's like, hey, I know this angle isn't a lie, and it's not. I have the data to back it up, but I could present it in a way where, like, oh, yes, it's going to make it seem like this has completely fallen apart. But let's be real. The coach prime effect is still alive, right? If it wasn't alive, Brennan Marion wouldn't have taken the job, right? Brennan Marion was a head coach. Brennan Marion was leading his own program. He told me it on my show. He was like, it would have taken a lot for me to leave a head coaching job. And guess what? He got that, right? It wasn't money. I'm sure money played a factor. He made that quite clear that money has played a factor in him moving around before. But it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I'm not leaving a head coaching job to go be an offensive coordinator at, I don't know, Akron or whatever it may be, or at Purdue, right? He would have stayed at Sac State if it was Purdue, probably, right? But being with Coach Prime, being in a place where he's going to be under the spotlight, gives him an opportunity to showcase that he deserves to be a head coach, right? So that's already, like, it's there. People want to be with him, right? He brought in another top transfer class. He brought in a really talented recruiting class in certain places, right? It wasn't as deep as past years, but the prime effect is still there. And the reason that comparing now to 2023 is kind of irrelevant is, like I said, it was the perfect storm. Like, let's just walk through. Like, I'm not denying that these numbers are lying, right? But here's what 2023 had. For starters, it had Deion Sanders taking a new job, right? It was his first year, first sort of it was his first time at the Power 4 level, right? He went from Jackson State to Colorado, and he had the coverage, right? Everyone was excited. The videos of him telling the players like, "Hey, I'm bringing in my own guys. It's Louis luggage." That helped, right? The media coverage around that was out of this world. Another thing, they were opening the year against the defending national champion runner-ups on the road. So it was Colorado at a TCU team who had just made it to the championship. Granted, they got boat raced, but they had just made it to the championship. So you have Deion Sanders in his first year. You have Deion Sanders going viral a lot. And then you have the culmination of, like, they had a really intriguing schedule right away. They played TCU, then they played Nebraska, right? Rivalry, right? Then they played Colorado State, another rival. And it's like, okay, this is electric. And they were winning, and it was electric. You also had his sons playing on the team. You had quarterback Shedeur Sanders, safety Shiloh Sanders. You had Travis Hunter, the former number 1 overall recruit, who really turned, because he was in the transfer portal after his season at Jackson State. And it was obvious that he was always coming to Colorado, but he used that to, like, to sort of, I don't know, build his own audience, right? He's like, I'm not announcing my transfer portal destination until I get 500,000 subscribers or something crazy like that, right? Like, Travis Hunter knew what he was doing, and he got into that little Twitter beef with the wide receiver from Florida State. And was it Hakeem Williams? I don't think it was. I think it was someone else. But it was just one of those things where they marketed like perfectly. They knew exactly what to do. They knew exactly how to draw attention, and they knew exactly what they wanted, right? They wanted all eyes on them, and it was the perfect storm, right? So comparing that to this year or last year, it's like, okay, that's not really fair, right? Deion Sanders, we're going to compare his first year with his son, an eventual Heisman winner, to a year where he lost his son to the NFL and the eventual and Travis Hunter to the NFL. He had cancer. Colorado really had minimal buzz around them in terms of being a good team last year. I thought they'd be decent, but I think a lot of people were sort of expecting this to be a step back year. And so it's just weird that we're going to lengths to sort of make it seem like the prime effect is dead. It's not dead, right? At the end of the day, Colorado was never truly a powerhouse in terms of viewership, right? They were never a program that was going to be getting marquee games. Guess what? Week 1 against Georgia Tech on ESPN, marquee game, right? I think if I had to guess, they'll probably have 1 or 2 games this year that won't be on national television. Weber State's already one of them. It's on ESPN Plus. But to pretend that Colorado's allure or vibes are bad because Coach Prime is because it's no longer 2023, I think that's disingenuous. I truly do. I think the Prime effect is still well alive. He's recruiting at a high level. He's hiring at a high level. And I mean, the story will speak for itself, right? Colorado's going to be on national television this year, pretty much every week. So really interesting, random sort of like, hey, guess what? Colorado's viewership has dropped when you compare it to probably the most popular time in college football, right? 2023 was a movie. That was a different year, right? It was just the perfect storm of attention. Like I didn't love this to say the least. Let's talk fall camp. It's almost done. It's underway. It's almost done. But what are the key battles that are still needing to be settled that worry me the most? And they should worry you as well a little bit. This episode of Locked on Buffs, it's brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. Now, if you weren't familiar with Game Time, maybe go ahead and get familiar with Game Time. If you ever want to go to a sporting event, a concert, a comedy show, whatever it is, a festival, the hard part isn't deciding what you want to attend, right? We already know. As soon as those dates drop, we know, like, hey, I'm going to Rolling Loud, or I'm going to Coachella, I'm going to see Shane Gillis, or I'm going to see Dave Chappelle, whatever it may be, right? The problem is getting the tickets. Between long wait times, confusing checkout processes, and surprise fees where your ticket gets a little bit more expensive when you weren't expecting it to, buying tickets can sometimes feel harder than it should. That's why so many fans are turning to Game Time. The app is built to make buying tickets simple with upfront pricing, seat views before you buy, and exclusive saving opportunities that help you get to the events you want without the usual hassle. My biggest pet peeve is when you think you found the perfect deal. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm going to go see this. You get all the way to checkout, and then all of a sudden the price jumps, right? It's like, okay, that wasn't exactly what I thought I was paying for. Now maybe I can't get those good seats. I want to know. I also don't like when they don't have a detailed diagram. It's like, okay, you're sitting in section 200, seat 35. It's like, okay, what does that look like? And it's like, well, this is the map. Go off of that. No, Game Time, they give you a little seat view opportunity. So you click on your seat and you can tilt your phone and you'll see exactly what you'd be viewing from that seat. So do yourself a favor and take the guesswork out of buying tickets to every type of event with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON. That's Locked On for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at Poncho. Let me tell you about Poncho. If you're like me and you basically live in game day gear during football season, you're going to want to check out Poncho's new game day collection. It's one of those things where it's a performance shirt, but it doesn't look like a performance shirt. It just looks clean, sharp, and like something you've actually wanted to wear all day. Plus, you get to rep your team in style. The best part is it's built for real life, super lightweight, breathable. It's super lightweight. It's breathable and comfortable enough that you can throw it on for a full day of tailgating, sitting in the stadium, or just hanging out watching the game with friends without ever feeling like you need to change. What I really like is you're not stuck with a one-size-fits-all situation either. You can dial in the fit with regular, slim, tall, or they have long and short sleeve options as well. So think about the first time you wore a poncho and just remember the magic, right? That's sort of what I tell myself. I'm like, yeah, I was wearing it for this game. I was wearing it to go golfing, whatever it may be. And I'm like, yeah, I was comfortable. I felt great. It didn't feel tight. It didn't feel extra loose. It felt perfect. Go to ponchooutdoors.com/locked on and enter your email to get $10 off and free shipping on your first order. That's PONCHO outdoors.com/locked on. Head there, drop in your email and get $10 off and free shipping. And once you try one, you'll get why I've got a closet full. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. We're free. We're available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Also make sure to hit that auto download button if you listen to this podcast. It really helps me out. Let's talk key battles. I have 5 written down, and you're probably like, 5? That's a lot, and it is a lot because Colorado's sort of close to the vest about these things. So let's dive into them and who I think are the true contenders. Up first, we have the nickelback spot. So that's basically your extra defensive back when they add 5, a 5th secondary member, right? So they got the 2 safeties who I think will be Randon Fontenette, Nate Mitchell, and the 2 corners, Boo Carter and Cree Thomas. I think those guys have pretty much all but locked down their spots. But who's the nickel? Who's the extra guy? Who they sending in on the blitz? Who they using in coverage? I believe it's between Jaja Boyd and Makari Vickers. And Makari Vickers is a guy who he's a corner by nature. And there was some bright moments last year for him, some not so bright moments. He also was coming off a heart issue. I thought Makari Vickers would have a chance to be a starter. I don't really know what RJ Johnson's role is. Maybe they can move him inside. I doubt it. He seems like more of an outside guy, but Jaja Boyd's physical. I like Jaja Boyd, and I think he will probably win out this nickel spot because, at the end of the day, he's physical, can help in the run, can rush the passer if needed. Like, he's very diverse. I think Makari Vickers is more of a one-trick pony, at least from what we've seen. Like, he just isn't a guy that they're going to trust to rush the passer or help in the run. I just don't think that's the case. So we got the nickelback spot up first. Number 2, I think you have to really, and this is one that's kind of shocked me, but the 4th linebacker spot on the defensive side of the ball. So you have Tyler Martinez probably being the 3rd guy. You have Leon Lafayette being the 2nd guy, and then Gideon Lamprin, the first sort of de facto Mike linebacker guy, where it's like, yeah, that guy's our leader. Those 3 will play. There's no doubt about it. Coaches like them. They're all really good. I expect them to be one of the better linebacker trios in the Big 12, if not college football, if things get a little bit better for Colorado. But who's the guy behind them, right? they have a lot of freshmen that they could choose from. It's just sort of, which has been one of my concerns. Like there was a world where they had Rasheem Biles, who's viewed as the best linebacker in college football, and now it's like, hey, you have 3 freshmen behind you. So you have Carson Crawford, you have Rodney Colton. Like you have these guys where it's like not as experienced. What do we do when we need someone we trust? Do you go to the freshman, or right? Is it Carson Crawford or Colton, or is it Gage Goldberg? There's been some buzz around him. I was one of those people that said, hey, I don't think they have enough depth behind those top 3 guys, and I still think that'll come into question. And but if Gage Goldberg could sort of be that walk-on turned key contributor, I wouldn't mind it. I think Coach Prime, if there's any coach in college football who's willing to give walk-ons a shot, it'd be him, and he has a nice relationship with Goldberg, the wrestler. So we'll see. We will see. But that 4th linebacker spot is up for grabs. Let's go to a little bit more, I guess, exciting spot, running back. I mean, I thought this was Richard Young's job to lose. I'm getting mixed reviews. I'm not really sure where he ranks, right? He was named as a Doak Walker watch list guy. I guess my thing with the running back position, just to circle back on this, is that I thought Richard Young would come in and just take over a job. But the reports tell me like, hey, 5th string, 6th string, nice run here or there. But it's like every time he takes a step forward, he takes a step back, right? He fumbles the ball. Brandon Fontenette forced a fumble on him yesterday. Like, I don't think Richard Young is as much of a contender as I thought he would be. And that could change, right? The one thing about football, and especially week one is the most misleading week in college football, right? It is, right? You think your team's great. Florida State thought they were back. Clemson, LSU, we were like, wow, that's a battle between 2 playoff teams. Kansas State, it was like, that team could be good. Who knows? They ended up being terrible. Another Georgia Tech, Colorado loses to them, but it was close. And it's like, okay, Colorado, not bad, right? That was a playoff contending team in the ACC, right? And I was like, no, they're 3-9. So yeah, the week one is just weird. And it's not just weird in terms of how teams show out, but it's just not going to be the final sort of, like, that's not going to be the starting lineup by week 12. It's just not. But right now, the names that I keep hearing at running back are Jaquel Smith, Damian Henderson, and track hawk to Kalen Taylor, right? And there's also been some other guys sort of here and there that Michael Welch has been having some strong showing. So we'll see if he could sort of get back in the mix there. But the running back spot for Colorado seems to be wide open. And that's intriguing to me, a little bit worrisome to me, because we have yet to see Colorado have a talented run game. Or not talent. They've had talent, a useful run game. So I'm interested to see who steps up. Number 4, I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. The offensive line spots. You have left tackle, I think, is pretty much going to be Bo Hewley. I think left guard is going to be Chauncey Gooden. I think right guard is going to be McFadden, the Ohio State transfer. But center, I mean, is it Sean Kinney? Does he hold on to the job? Does Demetrius Hunter take the job like many of us thought he would from the get-go? Right tackle, is it going to be Taj White? Is it going to be Leon Ball? Is it going to be someone else, right? Is it Larry Johnson going to come out of the woodwork and just win his job back? Like, there's a lot of questions we don't have answered about the offense line. And then finally, the pass rushers on defense, right? Their edges. Is it going to be Toby? Is it going to be Lamont? Is it going to be, like, who is it going to be, right? There's so many questions that I have about this team still moving forward. And now part of this is because Colorado is a very secretive team. Like, they don't like to show their hand too much. And you kind of have to go off of, I don't know, you essentially have to watch those well-off media videos and be like, okay, who's with Julian Newlis, or who's with on defense, who's with Brandon Fontenette? Like, that's sort of the mindset you have to have, which makes it a little bit more difficult to decipher what's happening and who's starting. But I think those are the battles that worry me, or I guess are intriguing me the most. You guys let me know which ones, I guess, perk your interest. When we come back, we're going to talk about the newest sponsor that Colorado got and which could help them in a big way? This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Kalshi. On Kalshi, you're trading against peers in the live market, meaning there's no house. And so that means the probability changes. You could buy in and out of your position. You could trade the draft pick, the game, and more, right? Whether it's like, hey, will this team make the NFC championship, or will this team win X amount of games, right? You trade at the current probability and say you put in $100, whatever that probability is, you'll reach it. You'll get some money, and it's pretty cool because there's no house, and that's always the sort of complicated part in these kinds of dealings. Download the Kalshi app and use code Locked On to get $10 off when you trade $10. That's KALSHI, Kalshi. Trade on anything. 18 or older. Restrictions and eligibility requirements apply. Event contract trading involves risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Kalshi products are not available in all jurisdictions. Prices, values, and available markets may differ from those mentioned. For more information, see kalshi.com/regulatory. This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. Obviously, we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. Hit that automatic download button. I appreciate all the support that you guys give me and the network, and we just want to say thank you guys for being everydayers. So let's talk Progressive. Flo from Progressive. Shout out to her. This was announced on the 18th, Colorado. It says Progressive Insurance announced today its expanded investment in college athletics through a new agreement with Learfield. It's collaborating with 13 brands, including Colorado, Oregon, SMU, Texas Tech, USC, Wake Forest, Georgia, Boise State, Kansas State, Iowa, Ole Miss, creating premium brand visibility at some of the sport's most recognizable stadiums. And this is what Sean Freeman of Progressive said. We are excited to be a part of the college football landscape with this investment. It is an opportunity to support the collegiate student athletes at these storied institutions, as well as create a unique viewing experience for the fans. College football is ingrained in the cultures as these universities, and we are proud to be a small part of those traditions. Each Progressive program gets in-venue LED signage, feature video board features, social media integrations, and other game experiences. So you're going to get some content out of it, and it's going to really help grow the brand. Obviously, each of these programs makes some money off of it. And for Colorado, considering that they are a part of that devastatingly terrible monster deal that the Big 12 signed up for, this is pretty significant. I feel like the more you put yourself out there, the more opportunities you get to make money. The more money you get, the more upgrades you can make, whether it be coaching staff, facilities, and whatever it may be. So Fernando Lovo, I imagine he had a hand in doing this. He's the new athletic director that replaced Rick George. Fernando Lovo is a fundraising guy. He has been a guy whose job is to come in, make money. Now, he also has the fun job of determining what to do with all these coaches and their fates, but I think his specialty is raising money. And I think Colorado really needs to be in a position where they can continue to grow their brand, because at the end of the day, although some people think the prime effect is done, it's not done, but it never hurts to be able to bolster it a little more. And it never hurts to sort of have a strong brand post prime, right? Prime's not going to be at Colorado forever. He could retire after this season. He could retire after next season. You never know. Or maybe the program moves on. You truly never know what's going to happen. So having strong brand recognition, strong deals in place helps the program instrumentally. So like the aggressiveness, I guess it's aggressiveness, like the business savvy from Fernando Lovo in Colorado. We'll see how it helps or hurts. We'll just have to wait and see. But either way, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in to Locked On Buffs, making me your first listen of the day. Today's episode, we talked about the prime effect not really being done. I don't think it is. It's different, but it's not done. The key battles, we got nickel, the fourth linebacker spot, running back, offensive line spots, and then obviously the pass rushing spots, the edges. And then Progressive is now in the mix over in Boulder. Hopefully there's no conflict with Aflac. I know that's Coach Prime's personal sponsor, but we'll just have to wait and see about that. But either way, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in to Locked On Buffs, making me your first listen of the day. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, hit that download button. If you listen to this podcast, it helps me out tremendously. And I'll see all of you tomorrow with a fun episode featuring Locked On Baylor's Cam Stewart, because he thinks Coach Prime's going to be fired, and I strongly disagree.